Greetings. Professor Griffin here again, and I promised you last time that I would give you the story Uncle Wiggily and the Peppermint, and I always keep my promises, so here it is. Uncle Wiggily and the Peppermint. Now the notice on the door says I have gone to a baseball moving picture. So there's no one at the drugstore for him, so let's see what he's going to do. Uncle Wiggily, would you mind going to the store for me? Asked Nurse Jane Fuzzy Wuzzy, the muskrat lady housekeeper, one morning as she came in from the kitchen of the hollow stump bungalow. Go to the store? Of course I'll go, Miss Fuzzy Wuzzy, answered the bunny uncle. Which store? The drugstore. The drugstore? What do you want, talcum powder or court plaster? Neither one, answered Nurse Jane. I want some peppermint. Peppermint candy? Asked Uncle Wiggily. Not exactly, went on Nurse Jane, but I want a little of the peppermint juice with which some kind of candy is flavored. I want to take some peppermint juice myself, for I have indigestion. Mr. Possum says peppermint is good for it. I'll get you the peppermint with pleasure, said the bunny uncle, starting off with his tall silk hat and his red, white, and blue striped rheumatism barber pole crutch. Better get it in a bottle, spoke Nurse Jane with a laugh. You can't carry peppermint in your pocket unless it's peppermint candy, and I don't want that kind. All right, Uncle Wiggily said. And then with the bottle which Nurse Jane gave him, he hopped on over the fields and through the woods to the drugstore. But when Uncle Wiggily reached the drugstore, it was closed. There was a sign in the door which said the monkey doodle gentleman who kept the drugstore had gone to a baseball moving picture show. I wonder what I'm going to get. I'm going to get Nurse Jane's peppermint, asked Uncle Wiggily to himself. I'd better see if Dr. Possum has any. But while Uncle Wiggily was going on through the woods once more, he gave a sniff and a whiff, and all of a sudden he smelled peppermint. The rabbit gentleman stood still, looking around and making his pink nose twinkle like a pair of roller skates. While he was doing this, along came a cow lady. What are you doing here, Uncle Wiggily? She asked. Uncle Wiggily told her how he had gone to the drugstore for peppermint for Nurse Jane and how he had found the store closed. But I smell peppermint here in the woods, said Uncle Wiggily. Can it be that the drugstore monkey doodle has left some here for me? No, what you smell is that, said the cow lady, pointing her horns towards some green plants growing near a little babbling brook of water. The plants had dark red stems that were square instead of round. It does smell like peppermint, said Uncle Wiggily, going closer and sniffing and snuffing. It is peppermint, said the cow lady. That is the peppermint plant you see. Oh, now I remember, Uncle Wiggily exclaimed. They squeeze the juice out of the leaves, and that's peppermint flavor for the candy or for indigestion. Exactly, spoke the cow lady. And I'll help you squeeze out some of this juice in the bottle for Nurse Jane. Then Uncle Wiggily and the cow lady pulled up some of the peppermint plants and squeezed out the juice between two clean, flat stones. My, but this is strong, cried the bunny uncle as he smelled of the bottle of peppermint. It was so sharp it made tears come into his eyes. I should think that would cure indigestion and everything else. Oh, Nurse Jane, do only like a little bit of it in the water, said the cow lady. It is very strong, so be careful of it. I will, promised Uncle Wiggily. And thank you for getting me the peppermint. I don't know what I would have done without you. Then he hopped on through the woods to the hollow stump bungalow. He had not quite reached it when, all of a sudden, there was a rustling in the bushes. From behind a bramble bush jumped a big black bear. Not a nice good bear like Becky Snubtail, but a bear who cried, "Aha! Oh ho! Here is someone whom I can bite and scratch. A nice, tender rabbit chap. Ha ha, oh ho. Are you going to scratch and bite me? Asked Uncle Wiggily. I am, said the bear in a snappish like. Get ready, here I come. And he started toward Uncle Wiggily, who was so frightened that he could not hop away. I'm going to hug you, too, said the bear. Well, this is indeed a sorry day for me, said Uncle Wiggily sadly. Still, if you're going to hug, bite, and scratch me, I suppose it can't be helped. Not in the least in the world can it be helped, said the bear, cross-like and unpleasant. Well, if you're going to hug me, I'd better take this bottle out of my pocket, so when you squeeze me, the glass won't break, Uncle Wiggily said. Here, when you are through being so mean to me, perhaps you will take this to Nurse Jane for indigestion. But don't hug her. I won't, promised the bear, taking the bottle which Uncle Wiggily handed him. What's in it? Before Uncle Wiggily could answer, the bear opened the bottle and seeing something in it cried, I guess I'll taste this. Maybe it's good to eat. Down his big red throat he poured the strong peppermint juice, and then, well, I guess you know what happened. Oh, wow! Oh, me! Oh, my! Wow, ouch, oochie, itchy! Roared the bear. My throat is on fire. I must have some water. And dropping the bottle, away he ran to the spring, leaving Uncle Wiggily safe and not hurt a bit. Then the rabbit gentleman hurried back and squeezed out more peppermint juice for Nurse Jane, whose indigestion was soon cured, and as for the bear, he had a sore throat for a week and a day. So this teaches us that peppermint is good for scaring bears as well as for putting in candy. And if the snowman doesn't come to our house and sit by the gas stove until he melts into a puddle of molasses, I'll tell you next time about Uncle Wiggily and the red spots. Uncle Wiggily and the peppermint. Poor Uncle Wiggily looks so sad he can't get in, you see. But he will fill the bottle up, yes, very easily, for peppermint grows in the woods. Its juice is extra strong. Its taste would scare the bear away if one should come along. And you know what I just noticed? This picture, I think, isn't that peppermint? I think it is. What do you think?